So here we are for yet another episode of Fourq, 4 questions with the top comedians in the country and top international comedians, and today is no exception, Mr. Daliso Chaponda.
Yes, only mistake you made was comedians. Top comedian.
Comedian.
Yeah, he's right now.
After this one, there's nowhere to go.
There's nowhere to go. Exactly. This is the climax of the series.
This is the series.
This is the series.
So, Daliso, Central Africa, Malawi.
Yes, Daliso Chaponda, Malawian comedian extraordinaire.
Absolutely.
We're in my flat right now. This is, this blank wall is my place. This is my decoration. This high quality non-leather couch, my couch.
Literally, it's like an IKEA showroom.
This is like IKEA showroom, out of control, living the high life. This is what you've got to look forward to if you go into life of comedy.
Because I suppose you're a single guy.
Yeah.
So and
ladies.
There we go. This is more just an
advert.
But so you're like, because you're busy, you're doing 3 or 4 or 5 gigs a week. So I suppose you're not at home loads.
No, this is just where I keep my stuff. It's not really where I live. I live in hotels, but this is where I keep my stuff.
This is right. It's kind of an elaborate storage space.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
I like what you've done with your storage space now. Nobody usually puts up posters. So, Daliso, I'm going to go into the 4 questions, but let's give a little before that. How long have you been in this country? When did you leave Malawi originally?
Okay, so I've been in the UK since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Can't believe I'm still here. I've been here for ages. 8 years.
8 years? Is that the longest you've been in
one country? Yes.
Wow.
In my life, because grew up bouncing from country to country.
Yeah.
And then comedians bounce from country to country. So even after I stopped that, I was always bouncing. And this has just been a long time.
Long stay. Wow. I hope you stay longer.
Hey, I'm shocked. I'm a little antsy, but I'm like, where will I go?
Yeah, I'm coming with you, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll bring the kids. So the 4 questions. So the first question, Daliso, is what's your favourite memory of comedy?
Of comedy.
Of entertainment comedy, yeah.
Okay, I think I know what it is.
We could have a bonus one, though. We could have a favourite... I mean, we could make it 5 questions, because you're such a maverick.
I think my favourite... my favourite memory of comedy was flying over to Melbourne for the Melbourne Festival, and Adelaide Comedy Festival, because it was a big turning point in my life. I'd always been a comedian, and I'd started to do professional gigs where I get paid.
Yeah.
But that was the first time in my life when I was being flown to another country to do a festival. I was on with like Tom Stade, right? I was on with like professional, real comics.
Yeah.
I was looking through the brochure. My poster was next to like Stephen K. Amos and stuff. The plane. What was funny was the plane to Australia was full of comedians. If that plane crashed, that was a huge percentage of the world's comedy. Daniel Kitson was on the plane and Ed Byrne was on the plane. That plane had too much funny on it. I was like,
good job there wasn't like an evil genius who started out as an open spot who knew about that plane.
He's like, I can finish them in one go.
Yeah, my career will go
And so
overnight.
I was so excited. Went over there, really nervous, but in fact, I would say the whole 2 months is my favorite memory, because it was my first 2 months as a real comedian.
And almost like you could see it. You kind of like, look, I've been flown out to Australia. I can see this as a life,
I'm in a hotel,
career.
which I'm being paid. It was total
whole package.
Whole package.
It's interesting you say that, because I remember one of the first gigs. I think the first gig where I got flown and put up in a hotel. I think I went to Ibiza, I think it was, or I can't remember. Like, it was one of these Spanish islands where I got flown. I was doing some shows in hotels, and I remember like it was a weird emotion. I loved it. I mean, it was a little holiday. It was paid holiday.
Exactly.
All that. I loved that, but I also felt a bit like, oh my goodness, so much effort had gone into getting me there. It was like the press release. And there was a car that you got picked up at, and all this. And I was like, whoa. It just felt it felt good, but it also felt terrifying to me.
I'll tell you the interesting thing is, I was funnier.
Yeah.
Because I walked on stage with all the optimism and confidence that even though I was funny when I was getting it, I got an extra boost from, I can't believe I'm here.
I totally think you're right. There's almost like if confidence is put into you, you bring that confidence back. You need it.
Yeah.
You know, it's because I think the thing about comedy, it's a high status thing. The higher the status you're given, the higher the stage you're given, the more you kind of respond and fill out into it.
Well, it depends on the kind of comedian you are. But for us, because if you are like an insecure, like bumbling comedian, actually that might undermine you.
Oh, right, almost like it gets kind of too kind of grand.
Because there are people who are funny until they become famous or they get a lot of money. Then you don't buy it anymore. You're like, why are you talking about being broke and...
Oh, yeah. Because that's an interesting one. Yeah, if you carry self-deprecating
I saw a show
and all that,
this year. I can't even say the name. I don't want to... But
it's on the internet.
it was a famous act. It was a famous act. I was on with him.
Answers on a postcard, please, to who you think it is.
He's absolutely brilliant. I'm not criticizing... But what was interesting is a lot of the material was about back when he was working class.
Yeah.
And you could see people in the audience... looking at him like, can't talk about not having money.
It's interesting. Yeah.
And you can see their little anger that you're a millionaire. You're not one of us.
Totally. Well, I remember, watching McIntyre at the MEN, and he did this brilliant piece, but his end piece was about going into a restaurant and how you look at the wine list and your eyes go instantly down to the cheap bottle. You know, like that. And then, but I remember thinking, crikey, there was however, it was about 21,000 people in there paying £30 a piece.
Yes.
He didn't even have a support act. It was just him and a microphone, and I'm like, you're not looking at how much the wine costs,
I think they should at least acknowledge. No, not now. I'm talking about 10 years ago. But sometimes they don't even acknowledge that, and you're like, come on.
Yeah. It's almost maybe that's the character what made him famous. So that's your best memory. That is an awesome best memory.
Yes.
Worst memory.
Worst memory in comedy.
Okay, worst gig, worst time, worst.
Actually, the worst memory in comedy was it was a financial thing. It was I'd similarly gone to another country. I'd gone to South Africa to do gigs for 2 months. It was amazing gigs, everything like that, and then I wasn't paid.
Oh, man.
Right? And it's a horrible part of being in entertainment is that a lot of time we have financial issues, we have people who do bad venues, bad business, and it's not even just the not being paid at that moment. It was the ordeal, because eventually we had to get lawyers involved and stuff. And the reason I'm a comedian is I don't like all that business, bureaucratic. It was years of admin. Because I got paid in that, but it was years of
and you think
calling lawyers and
so you would never have even dreamt of taking the gig if you'd have known that, because you're not in it for the money necessarily, and you're not in it. But it is most comedians are in this job to avoid clerical work.
That's it. And I think my worst memory was just. I think it also made me lose some faith. Because I think I used to have this kind of naive, it's not a business, it's a passion.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it because we love comedy, there's a fraternity. And then I started to see that, not everyone.
No, man, I run quite a few gigs and there is a surprising amount of shysters out there. People, like, you know, when you're like, oh my goodness, that wasn't even like... Bad luck. You actually went out of your way to screw me over.
And what's worse is people are shameless shysters. In that when they're around you, they're so nice to you.
Totally.
I would prefer if it was a black and white reality. Is that they treated you like crap from the moment you met them.
It's a great, like one of the stories, right? There was Mundo Jazz, right?
Yes.
Brilliant comedian.
Yes.
Dan is the actor, you know, he plays Mundo Jazz. And brilliant guy. I remember him worked with this venue in Barrow, right? And I remember him saying to me, "Oh, this guy in Barrow, I'm not doing the gig there anymore because he's the guy. I just don't trust him, you know." Anyway, the guy approached me, however long later, and I went and I met him. Lovely guy. He totally he bewitched me, right? He was like so charming, and I'm like, this guy's great. And I was like, this is right early on in when I was doing this, about maybe 8, 9 years ago, and I thought this guy's really nice, and he did the same.
Oh
thing.
no!
And
But at the same time,
I've been warned.
Yes, at the same time, that's partly your mistake.
No, massively.
Because you're an idiot. You've been warned.
It was, like this battered wife syndrome. It's like battered promoter syndrome.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe he's changed. He'd not changed. He screwed me over a thousand.
So true. A lot of comedians, though, are actually battered wives because they continue to work for clubs which
abuse and certain chains that go, oh yeah, we'll pay you someday, just do a little bit more for us. Christmas is coming. Yeah, I like it. So, what's your motivation for comedy? What is it that got you into this industry? But what is it that keeps you going as a comedian? Because you are a prolific writer, an international lover. Great dancer. Why is it that comedy is you're focusing on that?
I think the interesting thing, I wish it wasn't this, but I think the thing is, when it comes down to it, it makes me feel good, right? When I started, I wasn't a very happy person.
Yeah.
Right? But when I gig, I'm happy.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. It's like, if it's like a self-worth thing. It's like when I leave the stage, everything's okay. I'm happy with myself. All that self-hatred or shame it's gone. Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people always say to me that you're such an optimistic person. And I'm like, that's because they've never seen me without my I did a gig this week of medication.
Oh, that's interesting. You've always got that to look forward to.
Me, and I think that's the reason, really. I mean, like, I've started to broaden it, and I've started to say, what do I want to say?
Yeah.
What do I want to, what message do I want? Yeah. What do I want to do with the comedy?
Yeah.
But it all goes back to before all of that. I wouldn't even be on stage if it just didn't make me feel.
That's very interesting.
Amazing.
Right there, down at the core, this makes me feel good.
And I'll give you this is how bad it is, right?
Or
it's
how
like,
good it is, yeah.
I would rather do a gig than go on a date with a stunning woman.
Wow. It's... What, do you think you're going to get knocked back? Or like... you can nail a gig.
No. I'm just saying that even if it was a short thing, right?
Yeah.
She's madly in love with me.
Now,
and I could gig. Now, in an ideal world, I'd combine the two. But if I could only choose one or the other, I'll do the gig.
You do the gig.
It makes me feel better.
It makes you feel that. I mean, but that is the essence of the performer. You just love it.
Have to do it.
And I think there are comedians, and yourself included, where you see they're doing it because they absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And at the core, it's not complex. It's like if a lot of people just did what they love to do, the world
It's a problem though, because there are situations where I've been offered something where it's a great opportunity, but part of it means I'm going to do maybe 1 or 2 gigs a week at most.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes, like I got one opportunity where I could go work in South Africa.
Yeah.
Do all sorts of stuff, but I'll have to hack my gigging down to 1 or 2 a month.
Yeah. And you're like,
I could not even consider. I could not.
I can't exist on that, man.
Even though there were 50 logical things telling me to do it, I was like, but I need the gigs. I need the gigs.
I remember talking to you about this. You've had some great opportunities. Financially, would have worked out better, but it's like there's just not the gigs to sustain your gig appetite.
I need it like opium.
Yeah,
so that's why
it levels you out. I mean, I don't have that to the same degree, but I know there's just something in me that feels really happy on a Monday, knowing it's coming this Thursday or this Friday.
True.
You know what I mean? If I have a week where it's Monday and I've not got one till Sunday or the following, I'm like, oh man, I'm watching this week.
So you've got it. I think the difference is I'm someone who would need to go to AA. You're just a habitual user.
Yeah. Yes, totally. I've managed to control.
Exactly. You've still got the craving, but you're under control.
I'm a functioning user.
Not in control.
You love. I love seafood cold turkey. And final question of the 4 questions is motivation for life. Then this is your motivation for comedy. What is that thing that really? What is it that's at the core of you?
Okay. Yes, I think for me it is expressing, sharing the madness of my mind, all the mad thoughts inside, to people, and because for some reason I might be substituting, but I feel like there's this value to them, that I feel is external, and I know I'm like England's very secular, so no one would really appreciate what I mean by this, but I almost feel like if you've been given talent, it's not yours.
No, it's been loaned to you to give out.
It's your responsibility. If you can sing beautifully, even though you could probably make more money, if doing business, you're wasting that talent which you were given. So,
totally.
And I feel like I can see things, I can make things funny, I can tell these stories, and I've been given this, and I have to use it, and that's my motivation to just share these mad thoughts with the world.
Because it's like it says in the Bible, don't hide your light under a bushel.
That's
you know what I mean? You've got this light. And it's interesting. There are comedians who are writers who do comedy, and you've got comedians, obviously performers, who can also write. And really, what you're saying, that like I know you very well, and I know that you are prolific. You write every day for hours. That's just in you. You just have to do it. And it's like a calling. It's not just a vocation. You just write. But the great thing about you is that you're also a really good performer. So you've got that nice.
But I see like that caught up, the performing caught up through repetition.
Because you almost had to package that which was already.
If you got me on year 1, it was just writing.
Right.
And then I learned how to perform it. I've been doing this since like 2001.
Yeah.
So
it's like
the performance caught up with the writing.
Cool. Wow. Well, comedian, international writer, and top bloke all round, Mr. Daliso Chaponda.
Excellent.